Hello and welcome to a new video. As you might be able to see from the map and the place name, we're not in Kansas anymore, we're not even in Ireland anymore, we're in Wales. And the reason is that I want to show you something that I have done in the past off camera, and that is mapping Time Team episodes. Two quick interruptions before we start with the video properly. The first is that they can be oval, they don't have to be circular, which I have only learned recently. The second thing is that when I recorded this video, before I recorded the last one, so I hadn't really agreed with myself on a tagging scheme, which is why I had to edit the video and it looks a bit patchy, so I hope you can excuse that. So let's get into it. So Time Team is a program that was on British television for a very, very long time and has a huge following all over the world, I'd say. And they went and did archaeological excavations within 3 days, and it's very entertaining and it's also very educating, and I love that program, as a lot of other people do. And because they did a couple of episodes, I think 2 or 3 on Crannogs, I thought I'd look and see if I can find one that I can use for this video. And this one is season 1 episode 4, so very early on. They dug this Crannog and it's here, so it's partly mapped already. And it was in one of the tea time, I think that's what they call it, things that they started during lockdown, where they chatted with the experts online. There are some follow-up videos on that, and I'll link a whole playlist in the end of this video so you can check out the original video, which is very interesting, and then also some of the follow-up ones. And there's also one about a Crannog Centre in Scotland, which I found very inspiring. So this is the lake. I won't pronounce it in Welsh, but it's near Glangors, and that's probably also not a very good pronunciation, but anyway, there is an Irish connection, and there's also a family connection to my family, so it's very exciting. So I'll go in and map this Crannog first, which is the original site, and it's not prehistoric. If I remember the episode, I watched it twice now, if I remember the episode correctly, it's not a prehistoric Crannog, but it was an early medieval one. So they were built later than prehistoric. So we have the forested area here. And we have some sort of a barrier, a wall. Don't know if, well, I can't tell from satellite view. I'll just turn the OpenStreetMap data off so you can see what it looks like on Esri. So you can kind of make out this, what they call subcircular. It's a new word I learned. It means not quite circular. This shape here, hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to try and follow that line for the Crannog. So I'm just, in case, I'm going to hold my Alt key pressed on my keyboard, so the line that I'm drawing doesn't snap to whatever else is there. So I'm just going to go around here, roughly following the outline. I'm using Esri Clarity because it seems to be the best satellite imagery available. So I have this area now, and then I go through all the tags with you here. So it is an area, but I can delete that, I can overwrite that, that's no problem. So it's historic archaeological site, and then site _type Crannog. And then we can give the source, which is first of all Esri. Some people, when I start these proposals for OpenStreetMap on the wiki, they say, but how do I know what it is? Well, for example, a Time Team episode. So it's Time Team season 1 episode 04. And I could also add that in the description, but it also has a Wikidata entry. So if I go to wikidata.org and I typed in Glangors Crannog, they spell it without an E for some reason. But that's what it is, and that's what it looks like. There's a picture there, so I can just copy this number here that starts with a Q. So technically it's not a number. And Wikidata, oopsie daisy, is this. Oh. So then there's also a Wikipedia article that gets automatically added if I add the Wikidata identifier. If you're wondering why I'm wearing this head, this is in honor of Mick Aston, who was on Time Team. and he always wear stripy jumpers or stripy hats. So, and we could add a name, I suppose, and I will add the one that I'm finding here, even though there is an alias. So I'm using the alias with the E in the end because that's what the place name is called. And somewhere up here, historic civilization, I'll put in early medieval because that's what they say in the series. Yeah, so the family connection, in case you're wondering. Alfred the Great's daughter was somehow involved in this area, and I'm also a descendant of Alfred the Great. The Irish connection is obviously that it's a Crannog, and it's something that's very typical for Ireland. There's another Irish connection. There were a lot of Ogham stones found around this lake. There's a church down here. I think that's the one that they mentioned in the episode. And I think they found a grave marker with Ogham on it. They call it Ogham. But what I also discovered when I looked it up on satellite view is that they have a little reconstruction down here. So to the northwest of the original Crannog, which is big, allegedly there was a palace built on it. You will learn that when you watch the episode. So they built a tiny version of it here. You kind of have to know what it is to recognize it, but it's circular, as you can see, and it looks like there's a round hut on it with a thatched roof. And I checked it out, and they do have a Crannog Centre there. So they built a reconstruction, and it's a type of a museum or a visitor centre or something like that. Very few images on the website for some reason, strange. But if you look it up on TripAdvisor, for example, you'll see more. So I want to add that one as well, this tiny one, partly because it is thatched, of course. So I'm going to follow this line here. And I'm realizing I forgot something with the other one. Never mind that for now. So area, it is already an area. So we define it as an islet. You might think it's an island, but the definition on OpenStreetMap is size-wise it's an islet. Place islet. And then I can highlight this here and make it proper circular by just highlighting it and pressing the O button on my keyboard. Magic. So I have this now defined as just an islet, and I will connect it to the mainland using a bridge because people want to walk there. They don't have to swim. So I'll use the line tool and start on this node here, which seems to be the edge of the lake, and connect it to here. Add a footpath and also define it as a bridge because it goes over water. It's probably made of wood, but I don't know for certain. So back to the islet. I want to define it as a Crannog now. It's not a historic Crannog in the sense that it's not prehistoric or medieval or whatever. It's a reconstruction, but it's still a Crannog. So in my opinion, a reconstructed archaeological site is still an archaeological site. So historic archaeological site. Site type Crannog. Because it is a tourist attraction, we should add that as well. So tourism attraction, and I'll take the name from the website here. I suppose this one, the Welsh Crannog Centre. If you read the text, it says that the visitor centre is inside the round hut, so it's probably fine to put the name here. And the website is up here. And that's the islet or island. And then I have to add the round hut on it. So I'm just going to try to follow the outline of the island. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I could make a point of trying to hit all these points, but I don't have to. And define it as a building, hut. And they usually only have one level, because where would they go? And then highlight this, it's still highlighted anyway, and hit the O key to make it circular. And then I want to add the roof material hatch. which is what they used in the past. I could be a bit obsessive and try to make this right the center. That should do. I mean, it probably has an entrance as well, and I presume it's right here, but I don't know because I haven't been there, unfortunately. So that's the Crannoge Center. I have to exclude the island from the lake area. But I tried that earlier and it didn't work, so I'm going to do it in JOSM where I know how to do it. But otherwise it won't show it it'll still show it blue underneath, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to upload this, added Crannoge's and Visitor Center. There's probably opening hours here somewhere. But I can't see it. And just save that now and maybe hashtag Crannoge so we know. And source website Esri. Yeah. They should really put more pictures on their website, in my opinion. And let's see if I go onto the start page. Wait a little while and then update. Maybe it was actually that church in the program. Well, I'm sure they went to one of those pubs anyway, because that's what they do. Well, so they're there now. So that's not an island. You can see that it's still blue underneath, and I'll have to fix that in JOSM. And this one is shown as a building just in the middle of the water. So there should be a slight ring around it for the island. But getting there. I'll fix that in JOSM. I'm sorry I can't do that for some reason in ID. There's going to be comments in the comment section. Feel free. I don't know why that is. I'll fix it, I promise. It might take a while because it's in a relation and that sometimes takes a little longer to update. I don't know. But the most important thing is that the data is there now. It's just about how it's rendered, so that's not as important as having the information there. So I hope you liked this. I found it interesting. As I said, I will link a playlist with the original episode of the Time Team episode there and some of the follow-up videos, and also one about that Crannoge in Scotland. It's, I think, watched a couple now, so I'm getting confused. I think it's in the Tay Lake, hopefully. But anyway, hope you liked this. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I have other content which is usually coming from Ireland. I just wanted to make a little exception there because I love Time Team, and there is two Irish connections, so I think it's okay to use it. And I'll see you in the next video. Slán!